What's up, nerds? Welcome back to my channel, guys. I'm so excited. I look so bronzed today. I don't know why, but we're gonna go with it. We're gonna let it happen. I'm so excited for today's video. As you guys saw by the title, we'll be doing my 24 favorites in 2024, baby. My end of the year favorites. Yeah. I honestly thought I was gonna have a harder time deciding what books to put in this video, but honestly I went through like all the books I read, screenshotted the ones that I was like, okay, and then I'll like kind of like determine after that. I literally screenshotted 23 books that I was like, wait, these are my favorites, and so I had to go back and kind of like relook at one more, but for the most part I knew what were my favorites, and just looking at them, they made me so happy. Not to say that there are not other books that I loved as well. There are other books that I gave 5 stars. There are other books that just I really loved too. But these had to be the top kahunas. So first, if you guys like talking about books, if you guys like all the nerdy things, then definitely give this video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and without further ado, let's just get started. We're going back all the way to January, and it really, some of these books I was like, I forgot I read that, but when I looked at it, I was like, no wait, that was one of the best books ever. Starting with one of the first books we read this year, but one of the best, if not, I don't know if I would say that this was like the best book, but this one surprised me so much that honestly, I started writing my own book, and I want it to be kind of similar to this, and just the setup, because it was incredible. This is Taylor Jenkins Reid's Jenkins Reid, Daisy Jones and the Six. This is one of the best books ever written ever. Like, this is probably as iconic as I would say like Harry Potter, Twilight, like some of the best like iconic books ever. This one is so freaking good. So basically it's about a band and the singer who like ends up joining the band, singing with the band basically. But the beauty about this book is, first of all, I don't read a lot of books about bands, and I think they are so fun, but also it's kind of set up like a giant interview, and so it'll give you like, yeah, just like their thoughts. People ask them, like the interviewer will ask them questions, they'll answer the questions, their thoughts, but it also goes through like a bit of a storyline. So it's just written so well, so beautifully, and I love that. So I had to go with this one for sure. I honestly should reread it. I listened to it though. If you have a opportunity to listen to it, I would, because they change the voices for each character and they get into it, and it's so good. Love that one. Next we have Ready or Not by Cara Baston. I have little tabs in here. This book was so freaking good. I got it obviously in Book of the Month, and I read this really early on, but I just thought, so I'm like not 100 like remember, but I just remember thinking the guy was just so freaking cute. What's his name here? Shep. That's his name. I just remember him being so cute and just so well written, because you kind of love him as a person, and then so like just him wanting to be in her life was just so natural and just so beautiful. You just loved it. But this is also accidental pregnancy, and so it was just like perfect, which I eat up. I think they've been doing really well with accidental pregnancy, so I know that there was a time, I guess, where they were written pretty poorly, but this one was written so well, so love that. And I know so many people who are still like reading this like for the first time and are kind of like, oh my gosh. I'm like, yes, so freaking good. This is up there with like Out on a Limb. Yeah. Then I have Killer Instinct by Jennifer and Lyn Barnes. I honestly am not gonna lie to you, this whole series kind of blurred together for me, but either way, I think I read book 2, 3, and 4 all in this year, in the beginning of this year, and I think the series is so good. It is so entertaining, and it's so much fun. I honestly was gonna put the red book, Bad Blood, because that was the final one, but it's like somewhere, it's just difficult to grab, but I thought this book was so incredible. I think all of them are so good, and they make you, like, they're YA, but they don't make you think, like, oh, they're so childish. I feel like they just, I don't know, you want to be friends with these characters, even though they're, like, kids. They're, like, I think they're, like, 18, but still, basically they're solving crimes, and it just gets so interesting, and, there's plot twists, there's like crimes, and then there's other sub-crimes. There's so much that they're like solving and figuring out, and it's so good, and it's very quick paced. And if you have not read this series, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing. Oh my gosh. Then we have The Heartless Hunter by Kristen Selli. I think most of these books I had physical copies of except for one, but okay. Just wanted to make sure we were on track. Yes. Heartless Hunter by Kristen Selli. I thought this book was so good, and normally, so this book is in third person. That's not my favorite, but honestly it was so entertaining. I loved it. So basically it's like Witch Hunter, but like he thinks that she's so he's the witch hunter, and he thinks that she's the witch, but she's like pretending to not be the witch. And so, but they also like, there's romance between them, so they're like, they both think that they're scamming the other. Basically, they both think they're trying to trap the other one, and so it just becomes chaos. And then there's like a brother, or his brother, and so there's just like a whole bunch of chaos. And the ending of this book, I was shell-shocked. I want to reread this really bad, but I'm gonna wait until a little bit closer to the second book's release date. But it was so good, literally so good. Okay, and then I have House of Ash and Shadow by Leia Stone. I don't know, this series changed my life. I just thought it was so good. This is a YA series. This is a fantasy series that's less than 300 pages. Like, come on. Each book is less than 300 pages. It's quick pace. It's funny. But it's still fantasy. There's still this world that she created, and she made characters that you just love. It was kind of like enemies to lovers, sort of in the beginning. But then obviously, like, there's 3 books, so like you gotta like figure it out. Like stuff hits the fan, of course. But basically this main girl, she can't be touched. So if someone touches her, she gets like goes in like excruciating pain. And so it's just like the beginning of this book honestly ripped my heart out of my chest. I was literally sobbing because it was just so sad, like, to imagine that kind of life. And it was just so heartfelt. And then you could see she finds a boy who can touch her without causing her pain, but he hates her. If you have not read that book, I don't know what you're doing. Also do not know what you're doing. And then we have Powerful by Lauren Roberts, the novella. Honestly, I think that I would have paid actual money to see this as the main couple instead of the other couple. I know it's an unpopular opinion. This book was so freaking good. Had me in my feels the entire time. You like know the ending, but part of you has hope that things will be different. And honestly, like, just his name is not Kai. His name is, what's his name? Mac. Oh my gosh, like, such a beautiful man, like a well-created MMC. Oh my gosh, they deserved better, and I wish that this was a full-length book and a full-length couple, because this was 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. And again, I know I'm an unpopular opinion, but I don't care. I do not care. This also may be an unpopular opinion, and I have to mention them because I'm mentioning them together, but they're counting as separate books because genuinely I loved these books so much. And I'm sure you will be surprised. I know, of all the series, Marissa, like, huh? But something about these books were just like, oh my gosh, I was at the edge of my seat the entire time. I could not stop reading. Like, once I started, there was no stopping me. And I have to say, like, I think technically this one comes first. Tower of Dawn, if you don't know, is basically Kale's book. So it's Kale and some other characters that you meet. And I don't know. I fell in love with this book. I fell in love with Kale and, why can't I remember her name? I want to call her Yesenia. No, Irene. Kale and Irene. OM freaking G. I fell in love with these characters. I fell in love with this story. I thought that it was just written so well, and I'm like, I don't know. I really had a heart. Obviously, everyone, like, almost hates Kale in the other books and stuff, but I just feel like he really, like, I don't know. He really stepped up, and I loved it. I loved it so much. Anyway, also, of course, we have Empire of Storms, which is also just chaos. You can see, like, so many different color tabs because there are so many different characters. This is basically everyone else's, like, get some stories, get some mentions in here. Yeah, we got Aelin, Rowan, cute stuff, important information, Dorian, Manon. It was just so good, and again, I was hooked, And oh, I cannot believe like we went through this. I can't believe. And I know people, like, some people reread this series, and I'm like, I don't know if I could reread the series. It probably has to be like a year or two from now, just because I don't know if I could sign up to go through that again. But anyway, I love this so much. I loved a lot of the other books, but something about the tandem read really done it for me, and I loved tandem reading it. I'm not gonna lie, I think that really made my experience like that much better, because I was reading them together. I loved it so much. So I had to mention that again. I love a lot of the other books, but every time, like, that's the thing, like, all the other books kind of blur together as like one long series, obviously, but something about the tandem read just stuck out enough for I'm like, I loved it so much. Literally so much. I feel guilty not including Kingdom of Ash, but I didn't include it at all. So I don't know. I feel like, though, I really did love it. So like now that it's coming back to me after I got past my emotional distress from that book and the chaos that it caused me, I feel like I could probably, if I was gonna do it, rank everything, I would count the tandem read as one book and then count Kingdom of Ash as a separate book, so that we could still be 24, because technically I wouldn't love the tandem read. I wouldn't love those books as much on their own as I did reading them together as like sort of one long book. So I would say that's tandem read. I would say Kingdom of Ash is also on there because that book was just, oh my gosh, incredible. And I don't want to reread the whole thing. I just want to reread the first like 50%. But okay, we're throwing it in there, okay? Oh my gosh, then we have Broken Vow by Sophie Lark. I know, you're probably like, what? Out of all the books in this series? I really like this series a lot. I think the last book in the series, not my favorite, but something about this book just has me every time like squealing, because, so the main girl, is it Riona? I knew that, wow. Riona and Raylan? I don't know. But Riona, basically, she's just like this prim and proper, like, very, like, I don't want to say classy, but like uppity kind of person, like where she's like all work no play basically, and Raylan's like the complete opposite. So this is opposites attract, but he's like the complete opposite, but also like cowboys and horseback riding and on a farm kind of style. And so the setting, so he becomes her bodyguard, and so the setting ends up changing to like a farm. What? We got the mafia on the farm? Give it to me. Ate it up. So good. I want to reread this, honestly. Just thinking about it, I said yes. And I was so mad that these people didn't get a cameo in the last book, and I was pissed about it because I'm like, these characters were the best characters. They're so good. I do really like some of the other books. Like, they're sitting right here. I can see them. I did really like some of the other ones, but like this one, just everything about it was so good. Literally so good. Then we have, of course, now a Goodreads winner of 2024, but Funny Story by Emily Henry. I thought this book was so perfect, so well written. It was fun. It was new. It's not something you see 100 times before. It was so good, so entertaining. You love these characters, and the storyline is so good. I think it was like the beginning was so shocking that, I don't know, I can't believe like I loved it this much, and obviously the whole world did. I do think that this was a great winner. I didn't vote for it. I don't know how this possibly happened. I do know how it happened, because Goodreads, I did it by date read, but I hadn't put dates for the specific book and a couple books that I forgot about, and so now I had to rethink one or two books, because, well, just one book, because I forgot the one that I actually voted for. Hello. Okay, it's not actually that pressed. But anyway, I didn't vote for this one because I voted for one other book, which we'll talk about next. But I thought this book was still incredible, and it does deserve an award. I just wish the other one does too. Like, equally, they deserve an award. And I know, like, people, if you see if Emily Henry wrote the other book that I'm going to talk about, that one would have won just because of her name. But anyway, I digress. I love this book. If you have not read it, I think it's so good. And I did listen to it. The audiobook is very fun and fresh. It also won Best Audiobook, so it's an icon. We're gonna pop in a picture because I don't, the physical copy is up in a way, but I voted for, and my next book is Play Along by Liz Tomford. I can't believe I almost forgot about this book. I thought this book was incredible. It was genuinely so good, and it just had, again, also had me in all my feels. Like, I was crying, I was screaming, I was laughing, like, so good. I thought it was just, perfectly written. The couple's so freaking cute. And Isaiah, I don't know, I just want to, like, hug him. I just want to be his girlfriend. I just think he is, like, one of the best written male main characters in the history of books, because he's just so cute, so sweet, and, like, also funny, but also is, like, a flirt. And so it's just, like, check, 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 check. And I love that book. Almost forgot about that one. So sorry. But I also have to go with Wait For It by Mariana Zapata. I thought this book was so good. Last year, she probably would have been, like, one of my least favorite authors, but this year, I read all of her good books, I guess, this year, because this one is just so cute. So basically, the main girl is a single aunt, and she, like, is the guardian of the two kids, basically. So it's similar to single mom kind of trope, sort of. Anyway, though, so she's watching these kids, raising these kids, and there's, like, a guy who lives up the street. And so they end up meeting in the craziest way possible. I just thought it was so good. The beginning, you're like, and then he keeps, like, showing up. So then he's, like, the coach for the kids baseball team that her son obviously plays for, and just little cute freaking things and moments, and I just ate it up. And I think something about slow burn with children is so beautiful, because you get, like, the cute moments of the kids and, like, that relationship, as well as then you get the romance, and it's all perfect. One happy, great picture, and I love this book. Then I read Five Broken Blades by Mai Corland. I love this book so much. This one genuinely surprised me. So I honestly, like, when I was listening to this book, I was kind of like, okay, let me just throw this on, get this over with, get this off my TBR card. Then I was hooked. I listened to the audiobook because there are actually, like, 5 or 6 different perspectives. And so you, like, to follow along, the voice changes, so you'll, like, know how to follow along, basically, if you listen to it. But I was hooked. I'm like, who? With what? How? And I love this because, so you're following, like, 3 or 4 different romances, which is so interesting because you get to read, like, 3 or 4 different tropes in one book, and I love it. So the one is, like, second chance, the other one's, like, enemies, the other one's, like, bodyguard. Check, 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 check. Thank you. Thank you. The next book comes out soon as well, and I'm so excited because the ending of this book leaves, oh my gosh, it leaves you in, I was gonna say turmoil, is that the word? Like, it was just chaos, and so I'm so excited for the next one. So excited for the next one. Yes. Basically, they're all, like, almost not assassins, but they all are come together to kind of, I think they want to, like, steal a crown or something like that. Like, they all have a job to do, and so they kind of put together a team of people who have, like, special skills, and so so good, literally so good. Then, of course, we have Quicksilver by Callie Hart. I thought this book was so good. I honestly read this so quickly. Like, I don't know, I need more. It was incredible. I thought it was just really well written, and obviously, anyway, I don't know what I'm saying, sorry, but I thought this book was just so good. The fantasy, just, what's his name? I think his name is Quicksilver. What? No, his name is, freaking Kingfisher. Huh? I don't know, but so cute. I think this just got traditionally published, so this is the old cover, but I think it still has his face on it, so we need a cover that does not have his face on it. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. But everything was so good about that book, and I'm sure, like, you've heard a lot about it, and it's hard to even describe, but this girl, like, unlocks this world, and then he kind of saves her, and then he also is, like, in some deep crap, and so just lots of stuff. Alright, then I mentioned these together, but obviously they are separate books. They count as separate books, but we have Reckless and Heartless by Elsie Silver. This series really surprised me this year, and I don't know, maybe I'll do a talk about, like, my favorite series of the year and talk about my favorite books from the series too, because this one might be up there with like one of my favorite series of the entire year. It really surprised me. I love these characters. I love their stories. Obviously, so Heartless comes first. I think, yeah. Yes. Heartless comes first, and this is single dad, but he's also like super grumpy, and then she becomes the nanny, I guess, what is the word, babysitter, basically, and it just is so beautifully written. I think it always laugh when people are like, oh, like not super excited about this book, and then they're like, wait, this changed my life, because it's so good. It's so entertaining, it's funny. Obviously these are open door, and so that's not, it's not for everyone. But I think just the actual plot and the actual story, so good. So freaking good. I want to reread these so bad. But also, again, same with, well, Reckless similarly. This is accidental pregnancy, but the way Elsie Silva wrote this, yo, she knew what she was doing. She knew what she was doing. I ate this up. I thought it was so good. I was like, what? How? I don't know, but chaos, and it was just so well written, and I think I have a new appreciation for Elsie Silver, and she definitely put herself up there on the map with my favorite authors, because she's just such a genius. She writes everything so perfectly. Right when you start to feel a certain kind of way, she like will switch it up, or like, you know, do something new in the book, and you're like, thank you. I don't know how you're a mind reader, but you're so incredible, and so I love her so much. So this is before I thought about play along, I was gonna put Belladonna and Foxglove, so I'll give it an honorary mention, but I am so excited to read the third book. I just haven't pulled the trigger and plug. I haven't pulled the trigger yet, because I'm waiting for it to come out in a paperback, or I could just get it on my Kindle, but I haven't like gotten it on my Kindle quite yet. So anyway, I'm just kind of like patiently waiting in my love for this series, because something about Belladonna by Adeline Grace, OMG, I don't know how she did it. Another YA that just like, I don't know, ripped my heart out of my chest. I don't know, but it's not even like a painful. It was just like, I wanted to be a part of this world. I want to live in this world. I want to be, what is her name? Signa's Signa's friend. Like I want that for my life. And so I don't know, just was hooked. Basically, Signa can see like, that sounds crazy, but she could see like ghosts, basically. Like she could see dead people. It's crazy. But the mailman character, so the love interest, is Death himself. And oh, it's just so good. The like tension and the like, I don't know, everything so good. But also there's a little bit of mystery to this. So there's like romance, mystery. Come on, what more do you need? Fantasy, perfection. So good, so well written. Obsessed. I know the whole world is kind of obsessed with that right now too, but I have to jump on it because it was so good, so well written. Also want to mention Unsteady by Peyton Corinne. This book surprised me, but it was just so cute, and he has like anxiety attacks, and I don't know why, that just like, I love it so much. Not that he has anxiety attacks, but just like that it's so well written, like the representation, but also just like her, like the way they not bond over it, but like she kind of helps him through it. I love it. I love it so much. This book was so good. Everything about it. So basically, she's not necessarily like a single mom, but she like takes care of her siblings, but she's like mostly does it by herself. So it's like, that's interesting, obviously. And then also he gets like a relationship with the kids, and then the his parents also like are involved a lot, and so it's just like, again, check all around was so good. And yeah, it's less than 300 pages, like such a quick read, and I cannot wait for the next one. Cannot. I've been stalking her on Instagram. That's Peyton Corinne. Then we of course have Unwanted by Mia Sheridan. Are you joking? I don't know. I don't even know how you can't like this book. So this one is hard because you don't want to tell. Basically, there is a crime that happened in this small little town, but it leads to uncover some old stuff that kind of went down. So that's the female main character's like kind of side. She's solving this crime. She's helping to kind of solve this crime. She also has her own stuff that's going on with her. But then we meet the male main character, and he's kind of just like always lived in the woods. Like he's like away from society. He doesn't really know normal things, I should say. Like he's just lived separate from society, and so when they like talk to each other, it's just so cute. Like he doesn't understand like figures of speech, and like you have to explain why we do certain things that are maybe stupid, but like we gotta explain it. And so it's just so freaking cute. I love him so much. It's kind of like a Tarzan inspo kind of thing, which was so good. I love this book so much. This one also gave me a new appreciation for Mia Sheridan, because I loved her other series, the Pelion series as well, but this one surprised me because of that like added like mystery, like psycho kind of element. I loved it so much. Then we have the Blood of Hercules by Jasmine Maz. So you guys know how much I love this book. I voted for it in one of the things and it did not win, but like Homegirl deserved the W. This book was so freaking good. Like nothing happens as far as romance wise for the most part, but like it was still so bomb. So basically this girl, she finds out like she has to enter into this giant competition. Her life has been horrible. Her childhood growing up horrible, and it was just like chaos after chaos. So then she finds out she has to go into these like tournament basically, and she's like, what? Huh? But she also gets like trainers. I think it's Achilles and Prometheus. I think it's those two. But whatever. So she gets trainers who train her. But then she also goes to this school, and it's horrible, honestly. It's really terrible, but like it's so entertaining. It's not even funny. It was so genius. It was so smart. Nothing I've ever read before, but she has to go to basically this school, and so she meets like a teacher, another guy, lots of people, lots of characters, but it just was chaos. And so she's kind of like going through like this like mental battle as well as the physical, and then she just like uncovers stuff, figures stuff out. Like it's honestly, I know that sounds like crazy, like how could anyone like this, but obviously first of all I'm not the best at describing stuff. Also I can't tell you all the juicy tea. Like go into it blind and you'll love it, but this is why I choose. So if you don't like that, you're not gonna like this. But again, like I will say, like nothing really happens until like the ending, so like they're just all like basically pining after her, and so it's just really cute. I loved it. It was so good. So she also just got recently traditionally published, which you go girl. Then we have The Devious Husband by Katharina Mara. This one was so freaking bomb. Obviously, I've read like all of her, most of her backlist, but something about this book was just so good. There are so many elements to it that I just absolutely loved. This is the Windor series, but so she's the final sibling in that series. She's also the youngest, the only girl, and so it's the last book in that, but it's also the start of the Kingston series, because she's marrying a Kingston, and so you get to see like a peek into his family and his side of stuff, and y'all, it's a little bit more how do you say, it's a little bit like not scarier, more gangster. It's a little bit more like guns blazing kind of style, and so that is so interesting. I'm so excited for like what's to come in that series. So you love that, but also just like their relationship, they have been teased through every single other book as like almost enemies. Like they're always competing against each other, trying to steal the same property or like buy the same property. Like they're always against each other. And so when they get an arranged marriage, it's kind of like, huh, how could you? But he's also like, why would you not? Like, obviously I'm doing this because I love you. And she's like, what? I thought you hated me. You're like, huh? And so obviously lots of other stuff unfolds, but it just ends up being so good. It's so cute, and oh my gosh, I think this is what I love about, so Xavier and Sierra, that's their names, but Xavier, there's just this moment at the end where he messes up, man. He messes up. He screws up a little bit. He screws up in a response, not in an action. And Sierra's like, I'm not doing this. Like, literally, I'm not doing this. And he had to get a wake-up call, but I love it. And I love, like, his effort, his shift. Oh, so good. All of it. So good. So good. And then we have All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. This is similar to Wait For It as well, but this is single dad. I didn't know that the son is like 16. So normally when I picture single parent, I always picture a young kid, but this guy's like 16, which is not the end of the world. It actually ends up being like a little bit more entertaining because he can obviously communicate and express and have a conversation with the female main character. And so it was just interesting to see the dynamic, and oh my gosh, this is so good because so the main girl, she's like wants to get away from her life. She had like chaos, and I loved her story because she was literally at the point where she's like, I just need to find myself, and so she goes back to where her and her mom used to go hiking. Something like that. And so she needs to find a place though quickly, and there wasn't that many listings or something like that, and she finds a listing in the garage of someone's place. And so that was chaos, so good, but it's just like everything. So he doesn't even like her or want her to he doesn't even he doesn't like her. He's a little bit like grumpy, and they don't even talk for like most of this book, but when they do, let me tell ya, it is so cute. It has you squealing, screaming, dying on the floor. If you don't like slow burn, obviously you will not like this, but I thought I didn't like slow burn and I ate it up so good. But again, it's like those different things, because when you're like almost distracted from the romance, I appreciate that, because then I'm like, there's something else that I'm looking forward to, or there's another reason why I'm reading, where I feel like other slow burns, honestly, other Mariana Zapata books, I feel like, what are we doing? Like, I don't want you to wake up and eat cereal 6 days in a row. Like, I don't care anymore. But I feel like for this one, like, you wake up and you see, like, her, like, becoming, like, herself again, or like, you know, finding more of herself, or like coming to some realizations on her own. So you see that change in her on the day-to-day, and then you see like her relationship with the kid as well, that kind of develop. She makes new friends, that kind of develop, and just little things, and then the romance, it comes later, and you're like, perfect, lovely, bow tie, yeah. Oh, sorry. This one I also have to put in a picture because I don't have the physical copy yet. I'm gonna get it soon, but I'm trying to watch my purchases. But because I love this book so much, I'm gonna get it soon. But this is Ranger by I always forget her name, Dr. Rebecca Sharp. I think that's her name. Yes, Dr. Rebecca Sharp. Oh my gosh. So I saw a little clip of this video after I read this book that someone said, like, this is like all the Criminal Minds guys. So it wasn't even all of them. They said like it was like Will. It said it was like one of the brothers was like Hotch, and then I think the other one said Morgan. I think that's what they were. And I was like, like when you said Will, it's kind of like, okay, because Will was like, I don't know, like, whatever. He doesn't need, like, he doesn't need sort of, like, not a redemption, but he doesn't need his justice. Spencer Reid needs his justice, and so that's why when I saw this book, I was, like, screaming, dying on the floor, because Spencer Reid romance, give it to me. If you don't know, he's a little bit quirky, but very smart. He's a little bit, like, he definitely go by all the facts, like, the facts are law, and, like, you have to know the facts, and this thing never lies. And so when he starts to like feel like stuff for the main girl, he's kind of like, what? This doesn't make sense. And he talks to his mom a lot, which is super cute, and his family's so cute, and they're so close together. It's a small little town, which is just so lovely. And so honestly, if you wanted to read the whole series, I'm sure it would be really good, because all the brothers, again, they all end up to like in the same area, so you get to see them all. But like, I wasn't like rushing to read the other books, so I don't know if I will maybe in the future, but it was so good. So if you love Spencer Reid, this is the book for you. And again, genuinely surprised me, because all the books that I've read, I've never read a character quite like him. He is so incredible. I just love him, and I want him as my boyfriend too. Coming in strong here with our final book, number 24 of the year. I just did it in order of like from January to now, basically. So first read all the way to like my most recent reads, not in order of favorites or anything like that. This book I read recently, and I kid you not, I don't know what it is about this book, but I freaking feel like I will read this every single holiday season, and that is The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year. Are you joking? I've heard of Allie Carter, but she's never like spoke to me before, like her books, but something about this book was so good. It was so fun. It was like, feel like a little bit old fashioned, a little bit old timey, where they used to just write like crimes books like this. And it's less than it was less than 300 pages, and obviously it's romance, and it's so good. So basically they're both authors, which I didn't know. I thought they were both detectives, but they're both authors, and they get invited to a like exciting place, to exciting, like, yeah, someone's holiday party, basically an exciting person's holiday party. And at this holiday party someone goes missing, and they're like, what? But they're both mystery writers. So like, what the heck? Like, what is this? A real life mystery? But it starts to get like serious for real. So like, it goes crazy. Like, everyone's a suspect. Everyone's like looking at everyone and pointing fingers. And some people are literally sitting on their butts, not caring at all that someone's missing. And it's just chaos, but it's so beautiful. And then the whole time, I think they're like enemies. Like, I think they don't like each other or whatever, because of the genre. They're whatever, rivals or something. Yeah, rivals to lovers. But apparently he like kind of likes her, so you know what I mean. And so it just slowly becomes like, you know, the cutie little romance, the little nuts. He's like, I'll always protect you, and like little things like that, and you're like, nuggets, and you're like and so then when you finish it off, it all ties together so beautifully. It is closed door, which I appreciate. It alludes to a couple things, but like, nothing happened. I'm like, it didn't need that anyway. It didn't need to be open door anyway, so I was very happy that it wasn't, because a lot of books recently have been surprising me. I'm like, please stop. Please close the bedroom door. But I can't remember. I think there might, not that it matters that much, like, I don't mind, but I know for people, like, closed door doesn't necessarily mean clean. It also doesn't necessarily mean like they don't curse and stuff as well, but I like to use the term closed door instead of like spicy or whatever, because it just to me feels a little bit more conversational. But basically, let's close, if it's open door, it's like more of a spicy book, has spice in it. But I digress. I thought this book was so good, and it's also, so it says it's a rom-com kind of. It is funny. There are funny bits and pieces. So lots of things that are so good. Also serious bits and pieces. Just everything so good. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss the house down. So, oh my gosh. I hope that was 24. I'm going to assume here that was 24. I really hope you guys don't mind that this video is a little bit longer, but when I talk about books that I love or things that I love, I just go on and on and on. So I really hope you guys don't mind. Let me know what books you love this year. Did we love any of the same books? Let your girl know. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, nerds.